Got the second of 2 race weekends. This weekend, there at EchoPark Speedway, NASCAR returns. Doug Turnbull's going to be there on pit road. And first, he's joining us here in the streaming center.
It's good to be here.
Good to have you, man. So this is Sunday night, big race.
Yes.
What can we expect?
Yeah, and so NASCAR's top 2 series are at the track. And for people that have followed the sport a long time, and there's been also a surge of people getting back into it, maybe after taking a few years off, race weekends used to be like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then COVID, like a lot of things, changed it and condensed them. So you really have only on-track action, although there are some things at the track today as we speak. Really, it's Saturday and Sunday. NASCAR's second-tier series, the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, races Saturday night at 7. The Cup Series cars qualify. They take time trials to determine their starting positions early in the afternoon on Saturday, around 1 p.m. or so. Okay. And then Sunday, you just have festivities all day, and then you got to wait till 7 o'clock at night to go green for, as it's called, the Quaker State 400, presented by Walmart, because you can't have enough sponsors in NASCAR. And that'll be NASCAR's top-tier series, which some used to know as the Winston Cup Series many years ago, just the Cup Series now. So that's the deal. Here's something to watch into the weekend. Besides, Chesley, we need you to cooperate, sir. All right, we really don't need any summer Thunder Boomers. There is something about this track and NASCAR's most popular driver, who just happens to be from Georgia, and this being his home track, Chase Elliott. Yeah. He has won this very summer race twice, including last summer. I was doing turn announcing, play-by-play on Performance Racing Network, and got to call his pass for the lead. And it was a race, a very frantic kind of race where they were passing all the time. And to be a part of that scenario, and I got to call his pass for the lead actually when he won 4 years ago too. It's electric to see the whole crowd just go nuts. So it's not me rooting for a driver. You just root for a story when you see things go crazy. But Georgia drivers at this Georgia track are also a big story, because you have, if you remember, we talked about it here on the stream the night it happened. Actually, I got on with Ron Jones and talked about it, but the passing of Kyle Busch, the driver that is his substitute right now is from Winston, Georgia, West Metro, named Austin Hill, and he's a candidate to be the full-time replacement.
Okay. Austin
Hill in the second-tier series that races Saturday is running Sunday, and he dominates in the O'Reilly Series at Atlanta Motor Speedway, or at EchoPark Speedway. Wow. Old habits die hard.
Yes, of course.
The sponsorship name. But he dominates there. So there's going to be an underlying vibe with Georgia drivers, I think, that'll be big. And also, too, NASCAR's changed how drivers qualify for the playoffs and have made it a little more consistency-based. And this is a track, because they race at a giant pack close together, that you could be from top of the mountain to the basement really quickly as far as getting wrecked. So it's become what many people, I'm not saying this because I'm a homer, it's become what many people consider, including drivers, the most exciting track on the schedule. And it went from being like a classic race where the runs were long and there weren't a lot of yellow flags and crashes, and then they added banking to the track and changed it 4 years ago, to where it's this real frenetic race. And drivers don't love that necessarily, but the fans do, and I've experienced that myself.
Well, fingers crossed for okay weather this weekend. I know it's like 50, 60% chance of rain. Yeah. I mean, so you're probably dealing with a wet track at the very least. But hopefully you get the race off. It's, 7 p.m.? About how long does the race last?
It usually is about 3.5 hours or so. So it's 400 miles, but it depends how much they crash. Yeah. Let's just be real, or if there's a weather interruption. Last year, the races were Friday and Saturday, not Saturday and Sunday. And on Friday night, I just want to, if I can get personal, it was my first week here at 11 Alive. Mm-hmm. I was just running off a hyper stress, barely sleeping because I'm trying to get used to this job. It was literally my first full day in the traffic truck, okay? I get out of the truck, I go home and barely take a nap, and then drive to the track. So I'd been up since 2 a.m. because I couldn't sleep. I go all the way down to the track. I somehow go do a broadcast, but it was delayed by lightning like 2 or 3 hours. It never rained at the track, but the lightning was too close, and they had to, that race didn't end until almost midnight. And I said this on the air before other places. I literally didn't even know it was the last lap of that race when I was calling it in the turns. I was seeing cross-eyed out there. So it could be some late nights with the weather, but it's always fun.
And you're taking a vacation day this Monday, I hope, as a recovery day.
I am. I've had to go do Mondays here after NASCAR races, and 3 hours of sleep is not great when you're covering traffic.
How can we listen to your call on Pit Road?
Yeah, so that's a little. So it's Performance Racing Network or GoPRN.com. Okay. And I will be a pit reporter instead of a turn announcer this time, and covering pit out. So if there's anybody going in the grandstands, basically where they exit pit road is where I'll be calling a section of cars. And you can listen on GoPRN.com. It's probably the easiest thing. It's also Sirius XM Channel 90. And sometimes it appears on local stations, but those are probably the two best places.
All right, Doug, question for you.
Yeah.
So we talked at the beginning that storyline is always the big thing. What's the big storyline that you're looking at for this weekend?
So one of them that everybody in NASCAR is looking at that's particular to NASCAR, so it's in the weeds, but last week they raced outside of Chicago, Illinois, and there were two different sets of drivers that got into it on the racetrack and had some what could be argued as retaliatory wrecks. One of them involved Austin Hill. He got spun by New Zealand driver Shane Van Gisbergen, and they had some history. And then another driver who's really popular, Carson Hocevar, who almost won at Atlanta back in the spring, got spun by another driver, Zane Smith. NASCAR is going to meet with those drivers this weekend. Those drivers have each had barbs in the media, including Zane Smith calling Hocevar a bunch of words I can't repeat on a podcast, okay? So NASCAR is going to meet with them to tamp it down because this is not the kind of track you want to retaliate at because you could retaliate and wreck 20 cars. All right? So beef is what's for dinner Sunday night.
I like it.
Did you like that?
That was nice.
Yeah, come on. I could be a promoter, couldn't I?
So we're looking at beef for dinner on Sunday.
I prefer fish.
We're about halfway through the season.
Yeah, I think this will be race number 20. And so NASCAR's point standings reset in 6 races. That's another storyline because then they begin what's their version of the playoffs called the chase. So there's about 12 to 14 drivers that are within 150 points of each other, and they're like, and the cut line for that chase, which is 16th in points, is about halfway between them. So one little mistake, and you could go for being okay on points to being out.
Okay.
So it's easy to gain a lot or lose a lot this weekend.
So there's some drama with that beef dinner on Sunday.
I'm telling you, it is not just people going in circles. You got to know what's at stake. I was talking with Boise in the truck this morning. And I said steak. Okay. It's not on purpose. But you got to know that there's more than just turning left and going fast. And by the way, I've gone out there and driven before. I've gotten a chance to do that in a slower car, of course. And even that was difficult. So
How fast were you going?
I think like 130 or 140.
Still cooking.
Slower car.
So it was slower. I mean, they go 180 or 190, and my steering wheel wasn't even straight. That was what's funny. The steering wheel wasn't even indexed, so this was straight. And I was like, oh, okay, we'll do that.
Another question for you. So
Yeah.
I grew up watching NASCAR. My dad was a big NASCAR fan. For the people that either haven't been watching for a while or for the people that this might be their first race, coming to EchoPark Speedway, I mean, it's a picture-perfect view right now if you look at that.
Yes.
It's a beautiful scene there.
It is.
Great area, great part of town. Who's the big storylines? When I was in it was it was the Jimmy Johnson era.
Yeah.
It was the junior era. Like who is the big people to follow if you want to bandwagon the people that are expected to do the best this season?
Okay, so that's a great question. Now, you got Chase Elliott, Georgia's driver, most popular driver in NASCAR. However, Denny Hamlin is like NASCAR's heel. He's NASCAR's bad boy, and he co-owns a team with Michael Jordan that he doesn't drive for himself. All right? And Denny Hamlin has just passed one of his drivers that he employs in the point standings after Tyler Reddick, the Daytona 500, and the Atlanta winner in the spring, had led the points the entire year. So Tyler Reddick, co-owned by Michael Jordan, Denny Hamlin, who co-owns that team and is also like the bad boy, so to speak. Those are two that you could either root for or against, right? I mentioned the name earlier, Carson Hocevar. He's been emergent this year, driving for a B-level team, but competing with the A-level guys and ticking them off and wrecking them and stuff like that. And he makes really incredible, and some would say, not I would say, reckless moves, all right? So, but a lot of fans have kind of rallied around this 23-year-old Carson Hocevar, who's like a rebel and kind of reminds him of Dale Earnhardt a little bit, just, no holds barred. I don't care about the PR stuff. I'm going to go out here and wreck you. So Tyler Reddick, who's dominated the whole year, Denny Hamlin, who's been dominant, and Carson Hocevar.
All right, so Denny in first, Reddick in second right now.
Yeah, and
Chase
Hocevar
Elliott
is
down in fifth, and Hocevar at ninth. Went down a spot after the last race.
Yeah, because he got wrecked.
So about 240 points behind Denny Hamlin. You're saying it's a close race.
It is in the points, and these points will reset after race 26 to where the leader will have like a 25-point lead, and then it goes down only like 5 points per spot all the way to 16th, where 16th of the points is only going to be 100 points out of first, and then they'll race the final 10 races of the year to determine the champion. And that was a departure from what they did the last 11 seasons, where they had a bunch of win and you're in clinch scenarios that we won't explain right now. But
Yeah, that
it
was
was difficult to explain.
I think it'll be interesting to see as they kind of go to more of a simple playoff system, if that can retain some of the longtime viewers that were a little confused, annoyed, whatever you want to say by the now former system.
How many stories do we do in here? What's old is new again, right?
Yeah.
The 90s are back. You were talking classic hip hop the other day.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so look, this chase that they have right now is very similar to the system that Jimmy Johnson won 5 straight titles in from 2006 to 2010.
That's what I was
All right?
watching.
That system is what scared the old school fans off. But because the chase is old and that the playoff system from 2014 through 25 was controversial, now people were pining for the old again, but the new old is what they settled on. So this chase thing is something that we've seen before, and it used to be hated as much as the other playoff system. And as my mentor in NASCAR radio, Doug Rice, said, okay, he's a longtime announcer, just retired. He said there's only 2 things that NASCAR fans don't like: change and keeping everything the same.
I love it.
And honestly, does that not apply to most
That
fan
applies to-
bases?
It's pretty
fan
fair.
bases, just about everything in life.
So it's
That's
good.
great.
And look, I don't normally on 11 Live do, but I co-host a podcast called 5 to Go. It's like 5 subjects you can take on the go, and it's like 5 laps to go. So if you ever want to take a deep dive, it's on the podcasters and GoPRN.com, YouTube, and all that. But I'm not saying that to come look at me. Just if you want to take a deeper dive or reach out, we'll do it.
I'm sure we got a lot of fans out there. Your passion is infectious. I've only ever been to Bristol Motor Speedway. That was a long time ago, so I got to get back into the game.
I didn't go to Bristol for the first time until last year, and I've done pit road 2 races last year, and I did a race weekend this year, and it's incredible.
It's a good time, isn't it?
It's like the stands are like 10 stories high or something. It's incredible.
All right, Doug, appreciate you. Good luck on the call this weekend.
It'll be fun, and I'll be fully rested Tuesday.
I'll see you Tuesday.